Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Sparesbox. Today we're back on the S13 again. I kind of feel like this is the John Farnham of project cars with us. It's always the last time we're going to be working on it, and then lo and behold, 2 weeks later we're back on this thing again. But today we're doing some more stuff. We've got a lot more parts that have finally arrived for it. We've got our front guards from JSAI. We've got our Haltech IC7 dash. We've got some strut tops so that we can actually correct all this massive amount of camber, because at the moment we're at about 4.5 degrees, which would be okay if it was a track car, I guess, but it's probably a little bit aggressive, so we're going to pull that out. We've got a front bar to go on, we've got a rear bar to go on, and we've got an idle control valve that we're going to install and plumb. We're not going to wire it into the ECU today, but we'll at least get the hardware and the plumbing done so that that's all ticked off the box. We have taken this to a wet pan to do a bit of testing. I've got a little bit of footage of that. All in all, it went pretty well, but there were a few little teething problems. We've found we've got a dead oxygen sensor, so I've got one of those coming from Haltech as well. Hopefully that'll actually turn up today in real time, so fingers crossed TNT don't stitch us up, but we'll hopefully have some more parts. And we do have a circuit day, a grip day booked as well for this, so hopefully we can get onto the track and give it a proper shakedown and do some more testing. But yeah, it's really come along, but we'll definitely have it basically as a finished car today, I promise. Straight up, we're going to tackle our idle control valve. This is it's actually an OEM idle control valve from Kia. We got this one from Raceworks. These guys supply a lot of OE style parts, and this is actually a genuine part. The reason we've gone for this one is it's got just a super simple spigot on one side, which we're going to run an external filter on. We've got a little BMC filter that'll go straight onto that. And it already had a 13mm hole drilled into this side of it, which I've tapped to 3/8 NPT. Any thread expert's going to go, oh, that's probably not enough thread engagement. But for this particular setup, it's only vacuum. If it was boost, I'd be worried about it. However, this is only going to be on the vacuum side of the supercharger, so we don't have to worry about potentially blowing that fitting out. Like I said, it is technically too big of a hole to tap to 3/8 NPT. However, it's good enough for what we're going to do. We have also used a bit of sealant to help it engage and seal the thread. But we're going to mount this up and wire it in. It's just a super simple 2-wire solenoid. So all you've got is power and ground, well, constant power, and the trigger will be from the ECU, which is negative switch. And it's just a duty cycle. There's no sort of stepper motor or reference or anything, so it'll just duty cycle as required to keep the idle within parameters. But we'll mount this one up. I think I may actually mount this through the firewall, so we've got the AN fitting on the engine bay side, but the actual idle control valve will be in the passenger compartment. Primarily just for packaging. It's quite a compact unit, but it's a bit of an offset unit, so you've got to have quite a bit of height to fit it in. But I think if we actually fit it through the firewall that way, it'll work pretty well. now got our 2 strut tops on the bench, the gold one on the left being the one that came out of the car. Obviously it's had a bit of work. The black one on the right being the brand new one. The right one, it's fairly obvious after you look at them together that this one allows a lot more of camber adjustment, primarily for track width correction or additions to the track. So this one will now allow us to be able to run fairly tame camber in comparison to this one. Like I said before, we're at about 4.5 degrees with the driver's side one maxed out outways. I don't think the car's straight, as we've kind of discussed before. This thing's bent. The left strut top we could get 3.5 degrees out of it, but the right we could only get 4.5. So we then sort of matched them up so that both of them were at 4.5. Like I said, not really ideal for the situation. So this will correct it all. The thing that you do need to keep in mind with these tops though, the original gold one that we have here is 8.5 millimeters thick, whereas the black ones are 22 millimeters thick. So whatever you add to that thickness, you need to take out of the ride height when you install them. So we need to take about 15 millimeters out of our ride height, which we'll do once we get those in the car before we do a wheel alignment. Because the thing to keep in mind as well, if you change your ride height after you get a wheel alignment, it will affect other dimensions. So yeah, you always want to set your ride height as the first thing, and then you do your camber and your caster and your toe and all that sort of stuff once you've done your height. So I'll throw this in. Oh, Silva, away! An old Disney thing. I get sued by Disney now. I love having lots of lock because now I can adjust the ride height without taking the wheels off. So good. Had to have a win eventually with a stupid drift car. So good. I've never touched these, eh? They're probably not even. That may be part of our camber caster gear. Is this one tight? Yep, that's nice. 1 out of 2 is not bad. With what we've found with the front coilovers not being the same left to right and the spring tensions not being the same left to right, I'm now just going to go up quickly and just run a tape over the rear struts. Probably something I should have done previously, but it may explain why the camber was so different left to right on the top plates to actually get the same amount of camber. So yeah, with that in mind, we're just going to check the rears. This does have to go for an alignment again now that we've changed the stuff around anyway, so now's the opportune time to get everything spot on, and then hopefully it'll pay off on track day. Just run the tape over it again with the wheel off, and now not having parallax error, you can actually see that it is correct left to right. It looked like it was about 5 mil out, but I couldn't get a direct sight on the tape, so that's kind of given us a false reading, but it's close enough that it'll be sweet. But the front was way off, so hopefully that'll now correct all the weird geometry stuff we were finding and keep it straight on the road. Oh, I hope I don't have to cut this. We've got all the front of the car sorted. We've obviously now got the genuine Nissan plastic front bar on. Fear not internet, we didn't actually cut the bar at all to get that on. Luckily the lower section slid just under the rad support that I've made, so fluke that, but it'll live to run into something another day. Guards are on, they've gone on pretty well. There's some sort of dodgy gaps, but I really think that's more because the car's been so badly bent and repaired before. We had a weird gap on the driver's side with the previous guard, and we've still got the same thing with this guard, so I think it's more to do with how that car was repaired originally rather than the old fiberglass guards. So they seem to fit pretty well. The only thing we had to do was cut out around the bracing, which we also had to do with the blue guards previously. So giving those a quick trim out. If and when we ever paint the car, we'll make it nicer, but for now it's definitely getting a lot closer to the end of the road and doing some laps and some drifting. So now we're going to shift focus to the back of the car. We're going to just put a plastic Nissan rear bar on the back as well. Then to round out the day, we're going to put our Haltech IC7 in. So we'll keep going. Be gone. Nailed it. Such a beautiful bumper bar. CAN cable, CAN connector to the 32 pin connector, which eventually we'll be able to do all sorts of cool stuff with. Fuel level input and all sorts of stuff directly to the dash is on the horizon. There's no release date for that stuff yet, but it's definitely been mentioned as it being a thing. So that's going to be pretty cool, which will mean we can have a fuel gauge in this. Now, much like the Cresta, we do have a surround coming from 3D Motorsport to actually fill the original cluster hole. However, that's still being printed, so we're just going to use the trusty Haltech bracket for now. It fits in there fairly well. It's got a nice mounting tab that we can just put 2 nutserts into this bracket here and should be good to go. That's us pretty much done for the day. plenty ticked off the list again today. The dash is in, all the body panels are back on. We've now got some actual camber adjustment rather than super mega tilty wheels 5000, so that'll allow us to set it up for grip and drift properly. But that'll be another day. We've got some grip days lined up for this car because at the moment there's nothing drifting going on in New South Wales because of COVID and also other outside events that have restricted stuff going on. So we'll be limited to grip with this thing for a while. We've currently got a spares box discount code going now. BCW5 will get you 5% off store-wide on sparesbox.com.au. So anyone that's keen, go and check it out. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.